Today, on Mother's Day, I honor not just the memory of my mother, but the legacy of the woman who loved, led, and lived with a strength that still echoes in my soul. So if you ever wondered who she truly was beyond the pulpit and the praise, journey with me as I share the woman behind the title. I wrote a poem that is especially dedicated to my mom, and is entitled, as I would have said, The Woman Behind the Title. She was more than mom, more than the matriarch we knew. She was a light in the shadows, a truth that storms couldn't undo. She gave her heart like open arms to strangers, saints, and kin. A refuge for weary souls, a place where love could begin. She gave her legacy, not just in blood, but in fire, fueling dreams with quiet strength and lifting each one higher. She stood as covenant, not perfect, but profoundly true. A wife with grit, with grace and wit, who always pushed them through. She laughed like the world was listening. She danced, though some frowned deep. She knew her name stirred whispers, but her calling ran so deep. Seen as a threat, called enemy, to causes built on sand, yet still she stood unmoved, unbent, with mercy in her hands. A master of the in-between, of joy and holy fight, she'd find a way, she'd make a way with wisdom wrapped in light. She was the woman behind the title, not just mom or wife or friend, but a warrior dressed in softness whose impact won't ever end. So for those who don't know, I lost my mom last October 12th. She was buried the 9th of November 2024. And my siblings and I, we did a tribute. My sister and I, we did the eulogy. But in my heart of hearts, I do believe like I could have said more, I could have done more. The day is quite a blur in my mind. So I decided that I just put something together for Mother's Day just to speak to the quality of the mom that we had. So pretty much my mom was a pastor, and with a mom that's a pastor comes many challenges, and many did not know her beyond the title of pastor or evangelist or Sister Sandra or the prayer warrior. And so it was with that in mind that I penned my speech, The Woman Behind the Title. And I just wanted to shed light on who she really was. I can genuinely say that she wasn't just my mom, but she was genuinely my friend. It was a friendship that would have withstood the challenges of time, of teenage years, of childlike mishaps. It was a friendship that we chose to nurture. It was a friendship that blossomed into adulthood. And I know that for my siblings too, it was their reality that mom was our friend. She was an extremely attentive mom. She had a keen eye for detail. She was extremely resourceful. She embodied the epitome of love. Speaking of resourceful and being the homemaker she was, one story stands out in my mind. My dad had farmed like some tomatoes, and production was so much that we couldn't just consume it within our own household, and neighbors had gotten their fair share, and there was just so much that was left. And we had fallen on hard times, and Mom took the produce and she made her way to the local market in Maypen, Clarendon, Jamaica West Indies, where we're from. And while there's no shade for those who sell in the market, it was definitely not something that she was accustomed to. She wasn't equipped with the know-how of how to sell these produce, and so it is that she went, and when she came home, she was like, Javian, shame. People them take it from me for little and nothing. But it was just her heart to aid in the provision for her family. Going to school, I remember her running us down to the taxi, begging us to take like a bite of our sandwich or drink the tea, and she'd say she would put it like in the freezer until we got home, and we'd have like ice Milo or something like that. Sometimes she'd wrap up the sandwich and put it in between our books, and sometimes we wouldn't even find them until like school would be dismissed. Or we have a session and we find it in between our books. We're like, yeah, Mommy Ruth did this, or just put it in the fridge. But that was really the type of mom she was. Mom being a pastor, sometimes, of course, we definitely felt robbed of our mom, because as a pastor, you have to share her with everybody. And that came with its fair share of challenges, you know, because, of course, some wouldn't understand boundaries. And it was challenging. It was challenging for her to navigate. It was challenging for us as her kids to navigate. But as we transitioned into our teenage years and into adulthood, I definitely believe that she learned, or she developed, a healthy balance between church and family. And not for 1 second could we question her love, her devotion to the well-being of her kids, of her husband, and the overall function of her house. Mom being a pastor, there were a lot of gray areas with ministry, and unfortunately we would have borne the blunt of some of these gray areas. But Mom did her best to protect us, and one thing that we can say is that our household, as simple as it would have appeared, we had love, and we understood that the success of any good family will be the foundation of love. I have absolutely no regrets. I can't say that Mom went without knowing that I loved her, or she went without ever telling us that she loved us. I'm happy that Mom would have been able to watch us mature throughout our teenage years into adulthood. She would have been able to watch us get married, form families of our very own, and she had an amazing relationship with all her in-laws. You know, she considered them as daughters and her son. And sometimes it would have seemed like, yeah, she even want to take them over more of being the biological child, because our spouses are always right in Mom's book. So anybody to be scolded or anybody to be reproved, you best believe it's going to be her kids. I'm happy too that she got the experience of being a grandmother, Israel and Jemuel, and I know that it truly warmed her heart to be there with them and for them. If I could say anything to Mom, what would it be? I'd say I might have never been privileged on this side to hold your hand throughout all of life's hurdles, triumphs, joys, victories. But I was honored or reserved the privilege to hold your heart. And I just say thank you for that privilege. It's not one that every child can testify of, but it was my reality. And so I'm so grateful. I'm grateful for what you represented, what you exemplified as an individual. I'm grateful to be associated with you, to be called your son. I'm grateful for the legacy of Christ that you would have established within your very own home. Because if you know anything about Sister Sandra, as for her and her house, we are going to serve the Lord. Whether we like it or whether we don't. And I'm happy that we have found a friend in Jesus, and it's definitely the burden of this grieving process a bit lighter. And we owe it to you and Daddy for the foundation that was laid. I'd also say that I'm not ignorant concerning your rest, because I know that you just rest from your labor. It's really lonely not being able to hear you or talk to you again, but I know it won't always be like this, and I'll see you again. So I just want to say Happy Mother's Day.
Today, I pause not only to honor the mother you were to me and my siblings, but to celebrate the remarkable woman you were in all the seasons of your life. Even as I carry the ache of your absence, though you have passed from this world, your presence echoes in every corner of my life. I remember you not only as my mother, but as the woman who lived a full, vibrant life long before I ever came to know you. The young woman who dreamed her own dreams, built her own hopes, faced her own challenges, and shaped her own path. The woman who in her adult years bore responsibilities with grace, wove a life of meaning and depth, gave endlessly to others even when they didn't deserve it, and gathered wisdom that she offered so generously to all who knew her. Your legacy is not just in the lessons you taught me and my siblings, but in the life you lived, in the quiet strength you showed when no one was watching, in the sacrifices you made without need of recognition, and in the love you gave without limit. You carried intellect, resilience, humor, and compassion as naturally as you breathe. You touched lives, built community, and left an imprint that time can never erase. Though you are no longer here to hear these words, I speak them into the world because they deserve to be said. Thank you. Thank you for your sacrifices I saw and those I never knew. Thank you for your wisdom, your laughter, your guidance, and your unwavering love. Thank you for the foundation you built beneath me and the example of strength you showed to me and my siblings. Today, I honor the young woman you were, the mother you became, and the incredible woman you remained throughout life. You are gone from sight, but never from our soul. Your legacy lives on in us, and it lives in every life you've touched. Happy Mother's Day with all my love, my gratitude, and my eternal remembrance from Israel and Janelle. We love you.
First, Mother's Day, not having you in the flesh. But yeah, I go and do the right thing. Well, at least try to do the right. Trying to apply all those invaluable lessons that you would have passed on. Lessons that were learned directly or taught directly and indirectly. We're in a better place still. So just I go and do what I have to do until we meet again, Love day in life and still loving you in death.